All right, good morning, everyone. Hope you had a good time at the keynote. So we had some really exciting announcements this year. Let's get started with this session. Just before that, some forward-looking statements. All of this, what we're going to present, is more for informational purposes. It's not a guarantee of future performance, but we would love to work with you and your customer teams and your other teams to replicate these type of results for your businesses. As always, provide us feedback. We would love to hear from you and how we can improve and what all you would like to hear next year. All right, so the topic for this today's session is self-service assortment and space analytics at Walmart scale. So our agenda is going to be speakers. Unfortunately, it's just me today. What is assortment space analytics? What are the existing challenges? How we solved them using Databricks. We'll get into a demo and the business value that Walmart reaped out of this, and future with AI agents that Walmart is thinking about. So a little bit about me. I'm a senior delivery solutions architect at Databricks, been with Databricks for around 3 years. I am based out of New York, New Jersey area. And my colleague, Alexandro, who unfortunately fell sick 2 days back, he's the senior manager of the assortment and space analytics team at Walmart, who we collaborated this with. So he was not able to make it today, but he sent us the demo, so we'll hear the demo in his voice. All right, so let's start with what is assortment and space analytics. And to help everyone understand, some of you might probably be aware of this space, but for most of us who are not, some of us who are not aware of this space or are not deep into this, let me start with, I want every one of you to imagine you are like a store manager of your local Walmart store. You can imagine that store right now. You've been there multiple times. You generally know what items are placed. Now you have about 140,000 items, give or take, that you have to choose from to place at the right shelf at the right time so that it meets the customer demand. Customers find what they need when they enter your store. Second, that in turn helps maximize your sales. And third, it helps with improved inventory management. Now, to choose from those 140,000 items, you could use, one way could be to use your judgment, could be based on your past experience, based on your local understanding of the demographics and the demand, place the right things at the right shelves. But the right way to go about it would be to analyze all the data and then based off that take decisions on which product to place at which shelf. Essentially like analyzing millions of records from your store sales, your store inventory, your pick rates, the rate at which your staff is able to get stuff from your store warehouse into the shelves, modular plan of those shelves, the width of those shelves that is available, shipments, returns, all of that will give you the right answer in terms of how to place those 140,000 items, which, by the way, will also change with the time of the year, latest trends, and all those kind of changes and seasonal factors. So lucky for you, Walmart essentially knows that there is a lot on you as a store manager. You have to manage customers, your staff, and all those things. There is this team, which Alejandro is part of, the Assortment Space Analytics team, which analyzes all those millions of records and gives you the recommendations. Well, they don't directly give it to you as a store manager, but they give it to one layer above you called as merchants. Merchants, think of them as brand managers. So there are all these brand managers for Hershey chocolates or Oral-B toothbrushes and so on. Their aim is to maximize the sales for those products. And based on them, you can then in turn choose for your store, how do you want to place them. So that's pretty much like assortment space analytics is analysis of the vast product selection that's available that you can allocate in the space that is available in that shelves of your store, so that it leads to enhanced customer experience, maximize sales based on the customer demand, and inventory management. So let's understand a little bit deeper now why this can be hard. Well, first, like we just kind of saw, it requires a continuous analysis of customer demand. Just to give you some numbers, Walmart has like 255 million customers visiting its 10,750 stores and across its numerous e-commerce websites. So one-size-fits-all solution is not going to work. Their supply chain, like global supply chain, moves like 100 billion items each year. So again, overstocking or stockouts need to be avoided. And for that, you need to really know which stores in which region need what kind of products. Second, data accuracy and completeness. All that analysis that Alejandro's team does needs to be kind of based on trustworthy data, because you are going to make decisions based off of that. Any wrong, incomplete, inaccurate data can lead to millions of dollars of losses for your store and Walmart. And lastly, right product at the right shelf at the right time. It's not enough to just analyze all this customer demand, but it's also important to know which items can fit in that shelf, because you have some limited shelf there and there are different sizes. So it needs to be right product, right place at the right time. So now, again, peeling the onion layer a little bit more, let's get into the data side of the things. What are the technical challenges and how we solved using Databricks? So the challenges that Alejandro's team faced with the existing and older solutions, one of them was siloed products. So they had all these technical tools like tech tools and platforms to do ETL, a separate tool to do BI, separate tool to do ML, separate tool to do like web apps and data governance and so on. So it was like dealing with multiple architects and teams of these different disparate systems, all of which that had their own opinions, by the way. And it was just really a lot of friction to use all of these together to put together this solution, which requires massive, like tens of TBs of data to be processed almost every day or so. So it was essentially leading to higher total cost of ownership of using these multiple tools to ultimately meet the business SLAs. Second issue was slow performance for these large workloads. Like I said, tens of TBs of data, like we are talking about 90 billion, I think, in inventory and 35 billion store sales records that need to be processed. These older solutions had a lot of performance issues, frequent job failures. And also, because there were all these multiple disparate systems, Alejandro's team is like a business team. They didn't have a large tech team, so they had to rely on the central IT team to do most of these stuff. So that led to a lot of further delays in collaborating with the central IT team and their tech developers and so on. And lastly, data sharing. Alejandro's team needs to kind of work with multiple sister teams within Walmart to be able to provide these recommendations. So it is important that they securely share and receive data internally. So there needs to be a central governance layer to do that. So with all these challenges, they approached Databricks, and let's see how Databricks essentially solved these issues. So the biggest advantage that the team got essentially was because of the unified layer that Databricks brings. It's one tool, one platform, one ecosystem to do your ETL, your BI, your ML, data governance through Unity Catalog, Delta sharing, and even now web apps is something they're looking into, like Databricks apps that you just saw in the keynote. Once they got access to this platform, they sort of became self-sufficient because it was all one tool. They needed one architect instead of now relying on multiple teams and central IT team. Their tech teams were able to develop these pipelines and workloads because there's this assistant, again, which Arreola-Garcia talked about. It generates all these SQL queries. So they were able to create all these pipelines using Delta Live Tables, which is now called as Lakeflow declarative pipelines, through this to ultimately land data into the raw layer, cleanse it, transform it, and ultimately the gold layer. Performance-wise, because Databricks has Photon and it can handle all this massive volumes of data easily, they were able to meet these performance SLAs. And then finally, Delta sharing, because Delta sharing is controlled through Unity Catalog. It is one central governance layer. It easily allows you to share, receive data. And then finally, the game-changing thing was Genie, which we're going to get in the demo today. Genie essentially allows you to have like a interface for business users. You don't have to even know SQL. You can do this ad hoc analysis using just plain English statements. So we'll get in the demo of that. So just to summarize, you have all the store data sets, store sales, store inventory, modular plan, all gets into this raw bronze layer, we call it. And then from there, it's cleansed, transformed. There were multiple product IDs that needed to be standardized and those things, and ultimately aggregated and then into the Genie layer. And they're using apps through Shiny today, but they are now they're exploring Databricks apps to see if they can essentially use the integrations that Databricks has built in. Cool. So just before we get in the demo, just a quick brief preview on what Genie is. Some of you may already have used it, and some of you may have already seen it in today's keynote. But Genie essentially provides this, it's called as data room or Genie space. You can add your data sets from your Unity catalog. You can then train it, provide these context for the role, your business jargons, which we're going to see today, clarifications that users might ask, and so on. So it really acts like an AI agent or an AI assistant, sorry. And then you can add some of these sample queries for it to learn, and it all is governance through Unity Catalog. So it helps with just overall unified security. So let's look at the demo. And this is where you'll see Alejandro's voice. And let me start here.
Walking through a detailed user interaction, illustrating how Genie significantly streamlines and enriches the process of assortment analytics. Traditionally, merchants and analysts navigated comprehensive dashboards, selecting multiple hierarchical levels to precisely filter their item sets. Although this manual method was effective and reliable, Genie provides an even simpler and more intuitive experience. Genie leverages sophisticated metadata capabilities to automatically interpret and filter the item hierarchy. Rather than manually traversing each hierarchical level, users simply message Genie their hierarchy. Genie immediately identifies the appropriate hierarchy level, streamlining analytics and enabling quicker, more intuitive data access. Let's illustrate this by posing a common merchant query. What are my top 5 performing items in golf balls? Genie evaluates the hierarchy contextually, automatically identifying and presenting the top 5 items based on performance. Significantly, Genie's understanding of performance is adaptive and context-sensitive, dynamically selecting the most relevant metric depending on a specific category or area under analysis, ensuring insights remain precise and meaningful. Further, let's effortlessly enhance this analysis by incorporating additional metrics. For example, we can easily request Genie to include metrics like AUR, or average unit retail, and growth percent. Genie can interpret acronyms like AUR and updates the analysis to include these new metrics, providing deeper insights into item performance. The tables are also customizable, so you can format them to your liking. Moving forward, let's explore Genie's visualization capabilities. I'll ask Genie to show performance versus currently modularized stores. Genie generates a clear, informative plot instantly. This visualization offers richer insights by displaying item performance relative to store exposure, quickly highlighting strategic opportunities or pinpointing areas requiring attention. The plots are also customizable, so you can customize them to your liking. Genie also excels at enhancing productivity by allowing users to save common analyses as reusable instructions. These instructions can be labeled with specific descriptive keywords, enabling easy and rapid future retrieval. significantly improving consistency and efficiency across analytics efforts. Finally, Genie integrates powerful feedback mechanisms to support continuous improvement. Users can directly provide feedback regarding analytics accuracy, usability, or any other concerns. Administrators then monitor this feedback closely, responding promptly to user suggestions or required corrections, ensuring ongoing enhancement of analytics quality and usability.
Cool. So that was essentially what we heard Alejandro explaining. So just to kind of summarize, like give you like a 2-minute summary of this entire thing. This is how, I mean, obviously they cannot show their entire systems. So they sent a screenshot of what merchants and had in terms of user interface. They had to drop down, select, they know which item to filter and how to get to this specific item they need. And they would get a data set, which they would then have to maybe download in Excel, do some analysis. So it was like really kind of just difficult to maneuver from this. Getting Genie interface really just kind of changed the game by them being able to ask these questions in just plain English, and it will generate all these analysis, charts, and graphs, which they can then download and send it to other teams. And what you also saw was it could also just understand some of the acronyms. So you see there average AUR, average unit retail. Essentially, that means total sales upon number of items sold. It just understands because it has been trained on this. So all of this essentially helps kind of make it easy for business users to not worry about these complex SQL statements. They can just use the Genie to perform analysis and kind of make their job simpler, focus more on business results. Cool, so let's switch back to the demo. So next we will get into, hold on while this comes up. We'll look into essentially what was the business value that Walmart reaped out of this. So like I said, this was like a unified tool to do ETL, BI, governance, ML, all of this together. They suddenly kind of realized how one platform was able to get the job done and not rely on these multiple teams to do that one, to pull together to get into one project. Which essentially helped them save like tons of hours. So that's where it was like 90% faster time to value because of the unified ecosystem that Databricks provides. And then the actual business value of using this data in the business, Walmart achieved last year around 7% adoption rate of this continuous assortment planning models, which have generated additional $630 million for Walmart. And by this year, the target is to reach additional 25%. So they're just going to keep on increasing the adoption rate for this. This is a quote from Alejandro's team, one of the senior managers there. Essentially, the main advantage they thought was being able to do all of the things that we just saw at scale without needing to ask multiple teams. And finally, what they see the future is with AI agents. So very similar to something what we saw in Keynote today. They have something developed called as Wally, which is their agentic framework, which is going to, we are now currently working to use Genie APIs to be integrated into these Wally agents. So merchants can directly have this type of conversational Genie-like interface within these agents, but those agents can do many other things as well. So that's something later this year we are going to work with them. And so with that, thank you very much. If you have any questions, I can take some right now, or down the stage as well. I'll be around here. Thank you.